Kia ora koutou whānau. I hope you're all well. It's been a while. We haven't uploaded some content in the last week or so. And that's because we've been really, really busy making our submissions. So submissions for the Conversion Practices Prohibition Legislation Bill closed last week on Wednesday. Apparently over 100,000 submissions made. It's huge, eh? Which probably means, because I have to read them all, it probably means that, you know, the gender identity movement's target of wanting to have this legislation passed by Christmas time or by December, that's apparently what they were aiming for, that will probably not be the case, okay? So, I mean, that's a small win for us, which is great. And at the minute, mana wahine kōrero, we're working on our, I'm just going to call it the sex self-ID submission, whānau, because the formal or the official name is the Supplementary Order 59 on the Births, Deaths, Marriages and Relationships Registration Bill. So I'm just going to call it sex self-ID for ease of reference, okay? All right, so I just wanted to have a quick chat to you. When I said in the first video that it was my belief that the gender identity movement, you know, use Indigenous people as a prop to justify their ideology and their legislations, I meant that in earnest, okay? I meant that literally. All right, so I'm going to read. This is from the Sex Self-ID Regulatory Impact Statement, whānau. This is government documentation, all right? And this is what I'm talking about when I make the claim that gender identity or the gender identity movement is using Indigenous cultures, all right? Page 12.32. Only recognising binary genders may have had a negative impact specific to Māori. Research suggests that there was gender diversity within Te Ao Māori, and that has diminished with colonisation. This has negatively affected the acceptance and participation of gender-diverse Māori in their own communities. Okay, so just those three sentences. There was something else that they referred to in the regulatory impact statement, but I didn't bother taking note of it because that, to me, that got under my skin. All right, whānau? So firstly, they didn't offer the research that they refer to. Research suggests that there was gender diversity. They don't also offer what they mean by gender diversity, okay? Because, I mean, gender diversity for Māori, number one, I don't even like the word gender because that's really not accurate, you know. But yeah, we had wahine rangatira. We had female or woman chiefs. You know, women participated in wars, you know, all that type of stuff. But they did not believe that they were tāne. Okay, this is what the gender identity movement does, whānau. It picks up on strands, I guess, of what they would see as gender diverse, like women being involved in, you know, fighting, warring parties and all that kind of stuff. And then they align it to their ideology, you know, to justify these laws that they are pushing through all over the developed world as well. These are foreigner laws, by the way, which is totally in breach of he whakaputanga, if anyone knows he whakaputanga. So only recognising binary genders may have had a negative impact specific to Māori. What a load of fucking bullshit. You know, we are proud to be the progeny of our tipuna. You know, we make no bones about that, whānau. And when I say our tipuna, that we're the progeny of our tipuna and proud of it, I'm talking about, you know, we would not be here, you know, if not for the generations of relationships between wahine and tāne in our lineage. You know, it doesn't matter what you think you are. It doesn't matter even if you're gay or lesbian. You were born of a wahine. You know, you know, we've never ever denied that. And to use that excuse, you know, for the RIS statement to use that excuse to justify these sex self-ID laws, racist, hideously racist, you know. I don't know of any hapu anywhere, whānau, that promoted the idea that their tamariki and their mokopuna were born in the wrong bodies. Whose body are they born in? And who's born into theirs? You know, it makes no fucking sense. You know, when they are talking about gender identity or, you know, diverse gender identity, when you look to the darkness that runs alongside this gender identity movement, that's a really whack way of saying it, but, you know, we're talking about men who are AGP, autogynephilic. You know, now I've not ever known in our history where we have encouraged autogynephilia or autogynephilic men, which is common to men, you know. And if you don't know what AGP is, I'll put a few links for you down in the description below. Whānau, I'll be honest, it's not a, you know, aspect of the gender identity movement that I'm comfortable. It's just disgusting. It's really fucking awful, you know. And to compare our culture to that, you know, they're worlds apart. And when I say compare our culture, I'm talking about, obviously, pre-colonial and not long after colonisation. You know, pre-colonisation and not long after. You know, I'm going to read out. It's not my favourite thesis, I'll be honest right now. But I'll read out an observation made in a thesis. I believe it's a smoking gun. The thesis is written by a Dr. Elizabeth Kerekere, if you know who she is. Okay, she says, page 82. There is not yet evidence that Māori had diverse gender identities or that takatapui played specific roles in pre-colonial times. Now, I don't know about you, whānau, but I call that a smoking gun. You know, especially given her position on gender identity, etc., etc. But, you know, for me, whānau, this is how I see it. Because we're not all the same, obviously. You know, we all come from different hapu. We don't all believe the same thing. We don't all think or feel the same thing. You know, that's one thing that pisses me off about this. It just, you know, glosses over that fact. Oh, Māori, like we're all one homogenous group, you know. But until all hapu have been thoroughly consulted and informed on the true intention of this gender identity movement, it's insidious, foreign, you know, no one, no government agency, no government minister, and certainly no organisation supportive of gender identity has any fucking right to weaponise our culture. Yes, you heard me correctly. No fucking right. And I am calling upon you all, whānau, to stand up to this. You know, I realise the duplicity of this movement. They will weaponise our culture on the one hand and then seek to, you know, I'm Māori, but, you know, just because I'm Māori, they don't give a crap. They'll dox me, I'm not saying they will, but, you know, this is what they do to women that speak out about this. You know, they're trying, what they're doing in order to address transphobia, they are wanting to pull apart the reality, the biological reality of wahine, not men. Now, that wouldn't help them. You know, they're not forcing men to call themselves, you know, ball bag wearers or penis havers. No, it's all women. You know, this is what they're doing to us. This gender identity movement, whānau, is dangerous for wahine. I can't put it to you in any other way. And if it's dangerous for us, then it's dangerous it's definitely dangerous for our children, but for our tamariki and our mokopuna as well. Because if we're not protected, you know, we're the ones who protect our families, we're on the front line, then how can we be expected to protect our whānau? You know, the breach of he whakaputanga and te tiriti o waitangi is written all over this. You know, and if you haven't woken up yet, I really, really hope that this video wakes you up to the reality that is unfolding before our eyes. Our culture has already been colonised before, whānau. You know, what's left of it is being thrown to the wind. You know, it's sad, it's heartbreaking when, you know, rangatahi, our young people they're swept up by this bullshit. You know, they come out making up all this fucking bullshit about our tipuna. You know, I've never known any tāne in any hapu to wear, you know, mukokawai for, you know, chin muko for women, for example. You know, because if we genuinely believed that tāne could become wahine, surely that would be one of the things that we'd do. Oh, you know, hone, he doesn't need a full facial, you know, tā moko. We need to put a chin, you know what I mean? You know, just basic shit like that. Whānau. Sorry, I'm not saying our culture shit, but, you know, I'm talking about the ability to think through this. And you've got to understand too, whānau, that, you know, when these kids get put on puberty blockers, because it's the kids, you know, sadly, that are leading this, you know, puberty blockers stop your ability. It just doesn't stop your puberty. It stops everything, whānau. It stops their ability to cognitively function. You know, doing some great harm to tamariki and mokopuna. If you're putting your kids on this stuff, oof, you know, it's making child abusers of us, these laws, you know, this, it hasn't been passed yet, but, you know, that's what they're suggesting we do. Oh, medically experiment on your child if they, you know, if they are gender questioning or if they claim to be the opposite sex. In what universe is that not child abuse, whānau? Yeah, so anyway, I didn't mean for it to get so heated. So I hope you enjoyed my haka today, but I've got to go anyway, get some shopping done. But yeah, I hope if you haven't put your submission through for the sex self-ID, I'll put a link in the description below for you so you can do it. Whānau, even if you just, you know, make a submission, this bill shall not pass, they have to count it, all right? That's legitimate. So it doesn't need to be an academic paper or anything like that. You know, mine are only 8 pages long or whatever, or ours rather are long because, you know, we've got a lot to say because we've been at this fight for a long time, you know, whānau. So anyway, I hope you're all well. I'll leave you on that note and get your submissions in. Okay, ka kite.